Last year, we were fortunate to establish the Brzezinski Institute on Geostrategy. You said that we should make the focus of this analyzing how geography and history is shaping analytic thinking. Why did you recommend that?
Well, because in my lifespan, and also looking backwards, most of international affairs involved the interaction of history and geography. And it seemed to me that that would be the case in the years to come for quite a while. So it's important to look at it, but to look at it through new prisms, new perspectives. It's going to be a very different world from the world that we have been living in. Just to cite one example, until very recently, there was this quest among major powers for one of them to emerge dominant. None of them actually ever did completely, except one, and that's the United States. And that's roughly between 1944 and God knows when, 70s, 80s, and thereabouts. It's impossible. But the situation remains both fluid and unstable, unpredictable and dangerous. And therefore, the whole thought of how geography and strategy interact pertains to what factors today are being critical in shaping the posture and aspirations and strategy and diplomacy and capacity for warfare among the major players. And of these, three stand out: the United States, China, and Russia. And it should be in our interest, perceived interest, in which we're always in a better relationship with one of the other two than any one of them has a relationship like ours.
You've been watching the world stage for your entire career. You've seen it from a much larger, more strategic dimension. How do you interpret China's rise as a nation, as a geopolitical development?
Well, I think it's ultimately a basic turning point in human affairs, because China has been historically paramount. But over whom? The neighbors of China during the days of China's historical primacy really didn't amount to much. And at some points it was the neighbors who took over China and then infused it with a sense of direction. I have in mind, of course, the Mongols, the Tatars, and so forth. So it varies. I think we as a nation have an exaggerated sense on the public level of the degree to which the world is prepared to follow us, especially because of developments in recent years. And we have a considerable and understandable hesitation about becoming more and more militarily involved. Well, that is the effect of the last several decades. So we are in a situation in which, in fact, leadership has to be in some fashion, not exactly even, but in some fashion more or less shared. And the big challenge to America is how to manipulate both the Russians and the Chinese, that it is desirable and advantageous to one or the other to have a better relationship with us than with either Russia with China or China with Russia. And if we can pull this off, we can still be in a leadership position. If not, we will be in a continuous mess of uncertainty and doubt, and probably the international situation will get worse and worse. And I am afraid I lean somewhat towards the latter. We are living in a kind of fool's world in which we think our preeminence is going to endure in its own, and don't quite realize that we'll have to have a leadership that's far more able to lead the public in the direction of global cooperation on the basis of some competition, but also much accommodation, and that we'll have to maneuver rather than impose in order to have things happen the way we would like them to take place. So it's going to be a much more difficult age. And as I said earlier, it will be vastly complicated by the fact that it will increasingly overlap with the global crisis, the crisis of global nature, crisis, global realities, the crisis of global climate and temperature. How you mash those two realities together is mind-boggling, and it's going to be the survival challenge for our children, grandchildren certainly.